With a growing attraction in oil, gas and mining sectors in East Africa, there is a demand for enlightenment to help this sector of the economy thrive. Due to this, several organizations, both local and international, held an event to help achieve this.
My name is Raymond Cahill. I'm the Regional Manager Africa for EAGE. And EAGE is the European Association of Geoscientists and Engineers. And we've come to Kenya with our partners, Oman Expo and Trade Fairs East Africa, to bring some of the expertise which has been available outside of Africa, outside of Kenya specifically, and to try and develop the market which is opening up here now in the oil and gas sector, in the mining sector, trying to look at new opportunities for environmental studies, etc.
The OGMA event that was held at the Kenya International Conference Center in Nairobi from the 9th of May to the 11th of May this year tended to bring hope of success in this project. The main aim of the event is to provide a platform for professionals, companies, and stakeholders to learn and understand the growth potentials of the East African region.
This is an inversion carried out by an independent consultants, Mirror Geoscience, in which they performed an inversion on the gravity data and came up with a three-dimensional density model. And they're looking at areas where the density is increased by about 0.5 grams per milliliter over the surrounding rocks. So these are the relatively dense bodies within the subsurface of the Earth.
The event also had a significant value, especially as the involved parties got the right stage to showcase their newest products, services, and technologies in order to encourage businesses, improve operations, and attract investments.
The idea every year is obviously to keep developing these areas which need work within Kenya, within Eastern Africa, in order to develop the expertise, to develop the personnel down here, the local content, to reach out and develop the market that is going to open up and going to be available, whether it's through, as I say, the oil and gas or through the mining industries. So we are very closely linked with all the international IOCs, the international oil corporations, and also obviously the exploring oil corporations as well, the independents who are investing their time and energy in Africa. Many of the events that we do, many of the knowledge share that we do, many of the student programs that we extend into the countries where we do our events, they support from a back end. And what we do then is we bring that expertise in, train the local society to take part in the activities and the jobs that get created. And from that, it's a knock-on situation, which hopefully actually we hope that it will, raise the life for the people who are here, for more opportunities.
Talking to the CEO of Dexcrest Consulting Engineers, one of the UK-based engineering consultancy serving the global oil, Mr. Nigel Pickard, and his partner, Mr. Roland Worth, the commissioning consultant. And this is what they had to say.
Yes, hello. I'm Managing Director. My name is Nigel Pickard. I'm Managing Director of Dexcrest Limited. We specialise in project completion services, so in particular commissioning and startup. And what that means is that once the facilities have been constructed, we inspect and test. We have a structured approach for doing that. We now, to mitigate the risks that can be made and mistakes made during the project phase, we get involved at the very beginning, and what we're looking at is making sure that the procurement of items are correctly specified, that they are going to be inspected and tested at the factory, so our requirements, that the engineering with an operations point of view, the engineering phase is done correctly, and we also have inspectors during the construction phase to make sure that the facility is being installed correctly as well. so that when we come to the commissioning phase, we don't have any major surprises. That's the key. It mitigates all those risks. And our structured approach to commissioning and starting up, we write procedures which allows people to safely work and inspect and test the assets, so that we can hand over to operations and they have a assurance that the facility will run reliably and safely, and is operable and is maintainable.
Yeah, hello, my name is Roland Wurst. I'm from Germany. I'm a diploma engineer. I'm running the Dexterous Germany office, and I am involved in African projects for the past over 10 years, I think. And I've done some projects in Nigeria and in South Africa, in Ghana and in Namibia. And now we are here on the first oil exhibition in East Africa, and we are very interested in investing in the region and setting up a company in East Africa, here in Nairobi. We want to supply the entire area of East African countries from Nairobi with the service that Mr. Nigel has just described. And obviously, I want to repeat that we will be using local content and also experts in the field from mainly Europe. So what that means is we get expert people in that have experience, that have qualifications from the oil and gas industry, and that can then mentor and train people that have graduated or very qualified technicians. We also can imagine to take on board engineers that have experience, for instance, in the pharma industry. There's pharma industry in Kenya, for instance, so they could obviously train into the way we operate, the way we work, and we can train them towards the way our thinking is, our philosophy is, our company vision, for instance. So that's what we're here to do. And yes, I can see a very good future if the oil fields are getting developed and explored in a professional, clean manner. Then we can be very beneficial for the country, because we can make sure, as previously described, that projects go well from the beginning to the end, and that timelines get hit, and that budgets are in place, and that projects don't get totally over expensive. So we can also provide a good input for the environment, because we know how to use waste products, or it's not really waste product, but for instance, you got a lot of gas coming up with the oil, and normally that gas gets flared off. And we've done a project that's still going on in Nigeria, where that flare gas is turned into electric power for the communities, for the local communities. So that's very beneficial, and you have less emission, and the community benefits from it. People benefit from it. With electricity, you've got internet, you're connected, you've got television. People can inform themselves. Even people in the village, they can do studies via the internet. These remote study courses nowadays, because not everybody can go into the cities. People can't go into Lagos, into Nairobi, where all the good universities are, and study, because they cannot afford to live there. So, but with that, they've got a great opportunity to do that from home. We already started a database that might be good to mention as well. We met a lot of junior engineers here, or almost graduate engineers here on this show, and we're going to take their CVs on and their certifications, and we're going to build up a database now for these engineers. And if the projects come up for us, then we will go back to that database and look who we will employ from these people, from these Kenyan engineers.
And if anyone wants to, who's interested in working on the commissioning side, they can always contact us.
Yes.
On the info@dexcrest.com.
Yes.
So that's the info@dexcrest. Well, you can see Dexcrest up there, and .com, and we will be looking out for any candidates that could be interested. And then when we come back, we can arrange to meet up with some of these.
Yeah.
These.